Hello everybody, it's Dr. Novak. Welcome to my channel. What we are looking at is Ricardo's Goldfish Aquarium, and it also uses a slow moving plenum. And he does have a question that he asked, and I will answer that question. But inside this aquarium, which I'm going to show you pictures of, he uses actually for canister filters, well, because it's goldfish, of course, he's using two fluval canisters. And one of them is packed with BCB bags to aid in filtration. And he doesn't say what the other one happens to be full of. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get into how he made this beautiful aquarium. As we can see, he's got one very large fish and some smaller fish. If you look there in the background, he does have it looks like a yellow aranda. Any of your yellow goldfish are a little rarer than just your orange and white, black and white, Anytime you can come up with a yellow goldfish. The rarest of all the goldfish, of course, is your ranchu, which would have a red head and yellow body. That would be the rarest of all the goldfish. But as you can see, the tank's nicely set up. I'm going to take you step by step of the way he set this whole thing up, because a lot of people are asking me how you set up a tank. So I'm going to take you step by step. But the question he asked me, he's using a bubbler, as we can see there on the left, and he currently has it going on during the day, and at night he shuts it off. Okay, I've explained that. You can do that. No problems. But he wants to know if he can shut it off 100% because he doesn't like the bubble noise. Okay, the thing about that, if you want to shut it off 100%, you can. You will just be using the Schober method of a plenum, because basically the Schober method of a plenum is just an undergravel filter without using a bubbler. That's basically it, because underneath you have your plenum. The plates that he uses for this tank of his are the plates that I have in one of my videos. You buy them off of Amazon. They snap together. They're made in China. Here's his bubbler. So this is what he wants to stop. It's only a 3/8 tube, because he has done the same thing I did. He bought a Lee's undergravel filter for a little betta aquarium I show in my video, and then you cut it out. You make a hole in the plate, and you then add it on to your filter plates somewhere, wherever you want. Anyhow, these are the filter plates. And as you can see in the left-hand corner, that's a Lee's bubbler. So it has the 3/8 tubing on it. And that's basically how I made mine. The only reason I add the 3/8 is because it's small. It even comes with that cap you can see on top, so no fish can get into it. But the plate, as you're looking at the two plates that he's using, well, he's using more because each plate I think is 6x6. He glued a screen with hot glue, same thing I did, onto the plates. As you can see, here's a close-up. The screen has been glued onto the plates. This holds the screen in place. The screen wraps around the sides of these plates, because these plates are about 1 inch high. So it's exactly the way Schober tells you how to make a plenum, about 1 inch high, but you can use the 1/2 inch. But anyhow, this is about 1 inch high, and of course he adds the window screening to it, which is what I did, just to make sure the sand doesn't migrate. The next thing he did, he adds his sand, first layer of sand. The sand here kind of looks like play sand. The thing I did different is I mixed a gravel in with this, a smaller gravel, but he didn't. Then he tops it off with the kitty litter, as you can see in this picture. This is the kitty litter to use. This will attract the ions and things like that. Ammonia out of the water, it will attract the ions out of the water. And then his next step is same thing I did with mine. He puts down the laterite powder. You can buy the laterite powder right from Amazon. I don't know if it's available in all countries, but I know in the United States here, you can buy the laterite powder. As you see, he just sprinkled that right on top of the kitty litter because it has the same crystalline structure as the kitty litter does. Then he topped all that off with more sand. Like I said, this does look like play sand. Then after that, this is what his outcome is. Very nice looking. Like I said, I would have mixed it with some gravel. He didn't. And here's what it looks like when he's done with it. And this is going to be for a goldfish aquarium. If you were going to do the same thing, let's say you had things that were going to dig, then you would put a screen on top of this and add another layer of whatever you want, sand or whatever. That way the fish can only dig wherever the screen is and then would have to stop. And then periodically you would have to move the substrate back over the screen. It would not then harm the plenum. But of course, this is his outcome. He has a nice, beautiful goldfish aquarium, which I think a lot of people would like. But yeah, Ricardo, you can stop the bubbler if it's just making too much noise for you, or you could just have it on during the day. Like I've said, at nighttime you can shut down so it doesn't bother your nighttime viewing of the aquarium. Because remember, it will just act like the showbird's way of doing it. So let's get on to the next set of slides I have. What we're looking at here, this is Ellie. Ellie's way of building the plenum. He's in another country. It looks like this is a plastic laundry basket, which I never even thought about using something like that. And yeah, it looks like a normal plastic laundry basket that you can buy at any of your stores. We here in the United States have a place called the box store. You can buy stuff like this. Anyhow, he takes the plastic laundry basket and literally cuts it down to 1-inch height. And I thought this was interesting because it kind of shows you how you can get innovative and make your own plenum. He cuts it down, and then after he cuts it all down, if it fits inside your aquarium, he then adds 1/2-inch fittings that are plumbing fittings, basically to the corner of it. Now I imagine because the holes are so big, he adds a screen on top of this, or you could add a craft mesh on top of it and on the sides with a hot glue gun to make sure, you know, nothing would migrate underneath it or through the top of it. But otherwise, I thought that was pretty neat. More innovative. Not all countries are going to have easy access to undergravel filters. So he basically made his own. And then, like I said, you can cover it with screen or that craft mesh, and you're done. Your plenum is finished. So I thought that was interesting. Okay, this is Jim's aquarium. Maybe I showed this once before. This is his Paradise Fish Aquarium. It's a 10-gallon. The reason I want to show it, if you look off to the right, he's using an, in the aquarium, old-fashioned corner filter or bubble filter. As you can see, it's not your typical sponge filter. This is what we used to use oh, back in the 60s is what I used to use. One of these old-fashioned, but there's nothing wrong with them. As you can see, he has carbon in it, and then on top of the carbon, you would put your filter floss or whatever you want to use, and that's the way we did it. And really, the maintenance on those is very, very low. You know, another thing of it is when you use something like this versus a sponge filter, it will grow bacteria in it exactly like a sponge filter will. Okay, the only difference is, and this made a big difference, is when you pull that out of the aquarium to do maintenance on it, you're not spilling all kinds of stuff back into the aquarium from the sponge, or you don't have to get a bag and wrap it around in a bag just to take it out of the aquarium, because they're not designed that way to spill everything that they've taken in back into your aquarium, wrapping them with a bag. These are quite easy because it gives you versatility to grow bacteria just like a sponge, because that filter floss on top is going to grow a lot of bacteria. Plus, you can use a carbon. You can use something like a phosphate reducer you could put in there. It's your choice. In other words, it's not just like a sponge filter. So really, those filters were very versatile compared to sponge filters, which basically are dirt magnets that collect the dirt. They can become biological, but they really become a hassle when you go to pull them out of the aquarium, because they're just going to dump a lot of dirt back into the aquarium that's going to fall off of them. Little corner filters like this, they don't do that. Okay, they used to come in colors. They still sell them today. In fact, they come in clear and they come in green. I think like a clear green, and you set them up the way you want. They use the same principle. They use air stone in them, so they're quiet. And I'll let you know how he set this up. It's a 10-gallon aquarium, uses no CO2, Plenum with no bubbler, with one bubbler. Sorry. Plenum with one bubbler, gravel, Seachem red fluorite he's using, plants, hydrophilia and anubias, supplements with iron once per week, no other additives, water changes about every 2 weeks, only about 10%, and zero maintenance on this tank. No need to even gravel vac. Very easy. Now I'll show you another tank that he has, which is his 50-gallon tank. Okay, this is Jim's 50-gallon tank. Very nice looking. Yeah, that looks great to me. I don't see anything wrong with it. Uh, got some nice angels in there. I don't. I wonder if those are Scalari or are they autumn angels. I don't know. He doesn't mention, but it could be Scalari. I can't tell very well from the picture because of the way they are facing, but they could be Scalaris. Anyhow, let's get into it. He using a plenum with 2 bubblers per my advice, since the 2 plates are not bonded together. Okay, so in this 50-gallon, he's using 2 separate plates. Like a 55-gallon would probably use 2 separate plates also. So each plate would have its own little bubbler. Using 2 Plenum GE Ultrabrights. That's exactly what I showed in one of my videos. Remember, I did the pendants. I did the pendant Ultrabright. I showed you how to make them. You buy them at your local hardware store, the Ultrabright light bulbs. I'm using them right now, the Ultrabrights, and I use them on all my tanks because of the problems I had with the Asta 120 lights. And they seem to be working just fine. Zero problems with them. Okay, I'm also using a ReptiZoo pendants, exactly what I'm using. 2 for 25 bucks, cheap enough. I think the light bulbs cost actually more than the pendants. And this has made significant difference in the growth of the plants. In case you haven't watched that video on the GE Ultrabright light bulbs, I think they use 30 watts a piece, so two of them would use 60 watt. It'd be like a 60-watt light bulb, incandescent light bulb, But boy, they are very bright, and they're equal to, I think it says, a 300-watt incandescent light bulb. So they are very bright. Each one putting out, I think, 4,500 luminous output, each light bulb. Like I said, I use them on all my aquariums now, and zero problems with them. Even in the pendants, the ReptiZoo pendants that they sell. Once again, I got all that off of Amazon. As everybody knows, I buy a lot of my stuff off Amazon. And the GE Ultrabright bulbs, you get them from, like I did, the hardware store. I got them from Lowe's. So, and then, okay, filter. He uses a OACE filter. If you're German, that would be Oasa Biomaster 350 Thermal. So the heater, that's one of those that have the heater built in with two BCB bags in it. Best canister filter I have ever used. Great flow rate, and pre-filter is so easy to clean out weekly. Yeah, I looked at those canister filters. They look like they're very nice. The only problem I heard with them, I think it's been fixed with those canister filters, is they had a tendency to suck in air, and then they became airlocked. Okay, but I think they have redone the head to the canister filters with the newest OACE filters, and it doesn't do that anymore. They found out what the problem was, where it was sucking in air. I think it was a rubber gasket, and they fixed it. Yeah, it'd be nice if I had something like that. I could do a review on it. It would be nice to see that, because it has that simple, easy pre-filter with sponges on it. So you could just pull that out, rinse it out. Heck, you could do that once a week, once every 2 weeks, whatever, how dirty your aquarium is. Looks like something like that would be great for goldfish aquariums. Goldfish are so messy. Or if you had a messy tank like with Oscars or something like that, where you would have to clean it, but you want something simple. So they do seem like pretty nice filters. Let's see, Gravel, Seachem Fluorite Red, about 2 bags of it. And then for plants, Amazon Sword, Jungle Veil, Italian Veil would be the smaller one, Anubias, and Hydrophilia. Fish, 10 stripe, Scalori, 8 red, Serpe Tetras, 3 flying foxes. Love these guys for picking at the algae. Yeah, flying foxes, there's something about them. They seem to pick on the algae when they're real young and small, but as they get bigger, they will move on to literally, as you feed them, they will go up the top and actually eat whatever if you're feeding flake or whatever you're feeding them, they will actually now go to the top. They will actually also compete with the cories. You will see them go to the bottom and pick up food off the bottom, the flying foxes. So they're a very versatile fish, but I kind of noticed as they get older and bigger, they don't seem to eat the algae as well as they did when they were younger. Okay, they seem to go more versatile, where they compete for food with your cories, and they'll compete with food with your normal fish. That if you have like a feeding ring, they'll go right up to the feeding ring and start taking the food out. And he's got about 15 neons and cardinal tetras, 6 variety of catfish, 2 lampi tetras, and 2 redway platies, 7 golden neons. I'm like you, this is a fish tank with plants. I like the shoals of tetras. Water changes about 25%. Was doing weekly, but backed off to every 2 weeks, and tank seems to do better. That's true. When you're, just like Jim says here, you got to feel out your water changes. You may do it weekly, then you may go to every 2 weeks, you may go to every 3 weeks or a month. You may even start postponing that to every, 3 months, 6 months. It depends on, you'll feel out how often you'll have to do a water change when you're using plenums and BCB baskets. You can probably go a little longer in between the water changes and not do them as much. He goes, minimal algae was running without CO2. The swords were suffering for some reason. I added CO2 about 2 months ago, and now everything is grown very healthy. I add iron per your instructions once per week, a few squirts from an old dispenser bottle. And of course, he says I use all your do-it-yourself solutions for everything work just as you'd said. That's why I do the videos on the do-it-yourself. I know a lot of people don't want to spend a lot of money on lights. You want dependable lights, so I kind of test them out myself, a lot of do-it-yourself stuff. Of course, he says something, I cannot thank you enough. It not only saved me money, but I only spent about 15 minutes per week maintenance on this 50-gallon tank, which really is not a lot of maintenance. And of course, he does say the little tank, the 10-gallon tank that I showed you previously, that's basically his quarantine tank. So anyhow, I want to thank Jim for sending me the pictures and being so detailed of what he has in it so other people can get an idea of what they want to do. I'm glad he's using the GE Ultrabrights, which aren't that expensive. I wish he would have told me how he's hanging the ReptiZoo pendants. I wish he could have showed a picture of that. But maybe he bought the hanger that they sell. They do sell a hanger. ReptiZoo does sell a hanger that you can buy. On one of my tanks a long time ago, I used the hanger that they sell to put my lights on. It worked out just fine. So anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope it was informative. It was informative to me. I liked it. I liked Allie's innovative way of making a plenum out of a clothes basket. I think for those people who are overseas, they can see something like that and say, hey, I can do that if I can get it to fit the aquarium. Or even if you find a basket or smaller basket, depending on your aquarium, that you can cut down like that. I didn't even think of something like that you can use something like that. If it fits your aquarium, well, heck, use it and then buy your uplift tubes and stuff from the hardware store. Great idea. But I do want to thank everybody. I still have a lot more. Ricardo's aquarium and all the pictures he sent. I do have a lot more to show everybody, but I'm glad that people have sent me this, like Ricardo, so everyone can get a step-by-step instructions on how to make a plenum. And of course, like I said, if you don't want to use a bubbler, you don't have to. Then you're basically doing it the Schober way of making a plenum. Okay, then it's not a slow-moving plenum. It will be very, very slow-moving after that, okay? But I've used those for years myself. But I just found out that the slow-moving one seems to work a little bit better, just adjusting the bubbles or if it's going into your canister filter. Anyhow, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel, as I always say. Get a lot of views, but a lot of people don't subscribe. And if you have a comment, or if you want to send me some photographs of your aquarium, your setup, of how you set it up, what you're using. Are you using sand? Are you using gravel? Are you using off-the-shelf fluorite product? You're using a canister filter. What kind are you using? Do you like it? Just like the OH canister filter. He really seems to like it. He likes the way the heater's built inside of it, the sponges. This is what we all need to hear. We need to hear from other hobbyists what they're using. Do they like it? Would they buy it again? This is going to help all of us make astute decisions on what we are going to buy so we don't waste our money, right? That's what we want. Anyhow, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and happy fish keeping.